So we've got this fucking guy flapping his gums and he's going to fuck us. Here, I got this video of Kevin O'Leary out there talking about his Mar-a-Lago trip, which I think we should listen to. Like, this guy's got the best setup. He's got such a great background. Everything's beautiful, so that when you see him on Fox News, he looks like a pro. And then he shows you that he's just a dingleberry wearing pajamas and pink underneath. What's up with that?
Why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada?
Why are we losing to Canada? I mean, he's forgetting, obviously, a major factor here. Like, they're losing it to Canada and we're giving them a discount. So are you really subsidizing us?
You just met with President Trump and a Canadian government official. I would never ask you to violate.
There's that picture we looked at before. There's the top. You don't see the bottom conversation,
but is there anything you can tell us that came from that meeting?
Well, it's out in the public now. That was the Premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith. She is one of the most pragmatic politicians on earth. Her relationship with Trump is unique. Alberta, that province in Canada, has more oil and gas than all of America.
More oil and gas than all of America. That is an interesting and important statement. Do they need ours, though, is the question. Because Trump is telling us we don't need any of your shit.
And is in fact one of the largest trading partners on earth with...
Largest trading partners on earth, and they don't need any of our shit. Is this adding up?
The United States. $188 billion worth of energy flows from Alberta into the U.S. to the refineries. It's shipped all over the world afterwards, and even some of it comes back up to Canada. As she likes to put it, and I think she's really getting ahead of the narrative, very smart of her, to say, look, we're in a long-term marriage with the people of the United States. We're not dating, we're married. Sometimes couples have some problems. They get into a little tiff, but because they've been married forever, they work it out. And that's, she's so far ahead of other Canadian politicians because she came down to Mar-a-Lago last night. I was lucky enough to join her. As she worked the room, she met many of the cabinet members there.
Okay, blah, 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 blah. But the point is that she's smart and she's approaching this thing pretty smart. There is a rift. There's been a rift for a while. That Justin Trudeau motherfucker really caused some issues between us and the States. And I mean, you know, you grew up with this brother, okay? You know, you grew up and you were best buddies and everything was cool and you played hockey together and you played football together and you wrestled and you beat the shit out of each other because that's what guys do. And then later, he goes gay.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
And now, you know, you still love him, but he's a little different. He's got different ideals. He's got different priorities now. You got to kind of work that out. So Canada, you know, we're the little brother that went gay and changed and started acting a little differently. And now the United States has to kind of figure that out with us. And hopefully, you know, they feel like they need us enough that they're going to work it out with us. And, you know, maybe we're going to realize that it was just a fad. I don't know. But we've got Kevin O'Leary representing us out there at Mar-a-Lago with Danielle Smith. Danielle Smith actually had something pretty good to say. She seems to be, you know, thinking things through. She was on a Rebel News podcast, I don't know when, a couple days ago maybe, and this is what she had to say.
Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly talked about, was asked specifically if in negotiations with Trump, Canada would consider an energy embargo on the United States. And I want to, as leverage, what do you think, what do you make of what she said?
Well, first of all, it's oil and gas that's owned by the provinces, principally Alberta, and we won't stand for that. And you should never, ever threaten something you cannot do.
This is what I'm talking about. Forget even about the fact that they could just come in here and obliterate us in 18 milliseconds, okay? If they really wanted to. Forget about that whole thing. I don't know what our defenses are here in Canada, but we cannot defend against the USA for very long. I don't think. But like, now listen to this shit.
And I would encourage the minister to look at a map of where Line 5 goes.
Look at a map, Bro.
You couldn't find your own ass with both hands.
And a map.
Okay, before you start shooting off your mouth about cutting off the energy to our big brother who's always supported us. I mean, they're being dickweeds right now, but we're all fucked up here. We need help, okay? We need to figure out what's going on and get our shit together. That's really all they want, right? But we're a bunch of fucking crazies, and we let every fucking crazy in the country, and we're all acting like a bunch of maniacs, and it's got to stop. When you're out there being a tough guy and you're making threats and you're making promises that your ass can't cash. Did I do that right? Anyways, you're throwing your weight around like a big dumb ass and you're representing us. And we don't want you to do that because you should look at the map of Line 5, bro.
Line 5 comes down through Michigan to get to Sarnia. And then that feeds the bulk of the supply needed for Ontario and connects with Line 9, which feeds the bulk of the product needed for Quebec.
So you just want to turn off the taps, do ya? Well, you're going to turn off the taps to show Trump who's boss and to give him a little pain, right? Because it's going to be painful when we turn off the taps. Well, thank God we know how to make igloos up here because we're going to need them.
And so if you cut off that line, you are cutting off Ontario.
What's with her voice? She must be sick. Everybody's sick. Are you sick?
I would encourage the ministers to either understand how our integrated pipeline system works,
or shut the fuck up.